everybody. Pop culture curator here. So good to see you, especially since we weren't able to make last week, thanks to me being a little under the weather. I had to get my treatment as usual. That's unfortunately seems to fall on Mondays, but I'm feeling better tonight, and I want to welcome everybody back. And so good to see you. And thank you for all your patience and waiting for me an additional week. It really means a lot. It's a lot to me, especially you guys on the panel. And I know I was people from the chat were messaging me, wondering if I was okay and telling me they give me their blessings, and I really appreciate that as well, everybody. That was very kind of you.
Well, we
Um,
totally understand, Pop. Like it's cool when you got to miss, the Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday streams. Like we understand, your situation. So, you know.
I know, and it's a pain in the butt. Believe it or not, though, I don't know how to. I mean, I wasn't feeling well after the chemo, but it wasn't as bad as before. So that when the doctor told me last time I saw her last month, and she said that what it's doing to me, that the problem will be decreasing. I guess I could say, well, it's true because I didn't feel as bad. I mean, I still felt like crap last week, but it didn't hit me as bad as before. So maybe next infusion will be even less severe. So I've got my fingers crossed.
So maybe your body is starting to kind of tolerate it to a certain extent,
I
perhaps.
think yeah, possibly it's a combination of that, or because she said they were decreasing the amount of medication, so it might be a
Ah,
combination of both.
okay.
Because I was taking like 4 or 5 different, I don't remember any of the names, but she said now I'm down to like 3 of them. So
Oh, okay. Hmm.
yeah, but I don't remember the names. But it's like, oh, whatever, whatever helps, and where I don't feel as bad, so that's good too.
Yeah,
And
yeah, that's good.
it is. I wanted to say first of all, much appreciation for the patience of everybody in the chat. And it looks like Suzanne was here. And Suzanne says, "Hello, Pop. Still in the hospital, but going home tomorrow. You have my prayers." And I've been thinking about you, Suzanne. I hope you get out of there. And I hope you're okay. I know last time you were saying something about crappy doctors, and I feel for you. I know what that's like.
Yeah. Do
So
you need me to
yeah,
read the chats?
yeah, that'd be great. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gorilla. But all my hopes are with you, Suzanne. Please keep us up to date. Let us know what happens tomorrow. I'm going to be doing our sci-fi horror stream. We're going to be covering the movie The Fly from 1986. If you could stop in tomorrow during that stream, let us know what's going on and give us an update. That would be wonderful. But thank you for being here tonight, Suzanne, and thank
Yeah.
you, Gorilla.
Then PvP says, "Oh no, Suzanne, what happened?" And we get Suzanne saying, "PvP, hello dear. I got really sick with pneumonia and sepsis, but better now." Oh, I know pneumonia sucks. I've had that. I had that when I was really young. There, I'm not sure what sepsis is exactly, but
I
I've
think,
had pneumonia 3 times. I haven't had sepsis, but I've had pneumonia 3 times, so I completely understand.
yeah, I've
yeah,
never had pneumonia, but I had one of my best friends that had it like 30 years ago, and he was so sick he had to crawl on his hands and knees to go to the bathroom. That's how it just drained the life out of him, right? Like he just had no energy at all. So
Yeah, I just had it
totally get
last
it.
year. You guys remember I just had it last year. I remember I was going through it when I was doing these streams. And then in 2016, I had double pneumonia. I was in the hospital for a month and a half.
Ouch.
So yeah, I've been there and done that.
That's
yeah,
And
scary.
it was no fun, Suzanne. I mean, just like me, I'm sure she's weak as hell and probably losing a lot of weight because she's probably not able to eat.
Yeah, that's not good at
yeah.
Suzanne's
Good luck,
age too.
Suzanne. Yeah, let
And
us know
Suzanne,
what happens.
yeah, and Suzanne says, "Hello, Grow. Hello back." Says hello to Jill.
Hello.
Hey, Elder Greg, welcome, welcome. He says
Hello,
hello.
Elder Greg. Good to
Hi,
see
Euler.
you.
She's saying hi to Elder Greg. And she says, "Sounding good today, Pop," with a smiley face.
I am getting
Elder
better,
Greg says,
thank you.
Suzanne. And Suzanne puts PvP's channel in.
Oh, thank you, Suzanne.
I appreciate that.
Then she puts in Euler Greg's for a spoiler free reviews, and it's jumped on me here. And Brad Wolf says, "Hi, all. Hope everyone is okay." Yeah, hey there,
Oh, good to
Brad.
see you, Brad. Welcome, Brad. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Brad.
And Suzanne says, "I'm here, Pop. Not going anywhere."
All right, good. Sounds good.
And we get our standard person turquoise wave, person turquoise wave, person Yeah. Welcome, Matt
Matt
G.
G.
Or wait, Jill. Yeah, I do
Matt
it.
G.
I
Good
still
to
wish
see you,
Matt G
Matt
would
G.
actually put his name in there because I always forget that, I think, oh, Taylor Swift. It's like, no, that's not right.
Matt G.
What? He is a big Taylor Swift fan, and
Oh.
He's a
she was
Swiftie,
just
huh?
she got on a magazine recently. I don't know.
Ah, okay.
I forget, Person of the Year or something with her cat.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think it
Bless.
wasn't Playboy, huh?
Accidentally
Yeah, I heard
saw
somebody.
that.
I'm just kidding, but I heard somebody say on a stream that it was Times Person of the Year.
Yeah,
But-
plus her
Well.
cat though.
Right,
Yeah.
but that Times Person of the Year, that's like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Anybody can buy that.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily mean that they're the best person deserving of the award. It just means that they paid for it and got it.
No.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so Matt G's just a Swiftie, huh?
Yes.
But make sure when you put Swiftie, when you're typing out Swiftie in your phone, make sure that the autocorrect doesn't change it on you. Because apparently I went to, because I was talking to someone about that because there was Swiftie and all that, and my autocorrect changed it to Stiffy. So they're Stiffy.
Oh, and if you don't have safe search on, that's a problem.
That darned auto.
Well, my problem is safe search. The algorithm goes by the it adjusts to like the type of language that you use when you're texting and all that. And I've sent out quite a few FU text messages and stuff like that, so my safe search wouldn't really matter. Oh, actually, it quit. I turned it off because it kept sending out duck use, but
there you go. Yeah, I hate that stupid thing. It's horrible. I guess it's great if I was you. But the sad thing is, I think because there's so many people that got their English education on TikTok, that for them that's actually an improvement. The autocorrect, and I think that's the reason why it's so popular.
well,
But
the
for
problem.
old school people like us who know how to spell, it's a pain in the neck.
Well, it's a
I
lot
turn
better
off
than the.
autocorrect as soon as I get my phone.
Yeah,
It's
I
better than
actually
the.
turned it off like 6 months ago on my computer here, so it doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
Trouble is, I still make spelling mistakes.
Well, it's a lot better than the old school texting. I'll tell you that when it first came out.
Oh, okay.
222 77777. Oh, damn it, wrong number.
My problem is
T9
that
text.
I don't.
Pretty good.
My problem is I don't hit the letters individually like old school with thumbs like people do. I swipe, and the built-in keyboard, the swipe is terrible. So I had to download a swipe keyboard, and the swipe keyboard you cannot turn off the autocorrect. So for me, it's take it or leave it. It's like okay, if I turn off autocorrect,
Huh.
I have to type in individually each letter for text, which takes forever. Swiping is much faster. I don't know if you guys know what that means or not, but
Well, of
that's what I
course,
use.
yeah. Well, it's exactly their old version of the cell phones that Gorilla was talking about. T9 texting. You didn't have to put in each letter one by one. There was a shortcut way to do it, and you're talking about the shortcut way to do it now, which is to swipe and it predicts what word you're trying to.
No, I had like one of the
Great.
old racers where I had to type in on the numbers. I didn't have that key. We didn't have.
Oh, I
to-
remember that. Yeah, when
Yeah.
I had a razor, yeah.
But anyhow, Euler Greg says, "Well, Suzanne, I'm
No,
glad you're
same.
better. That's rough. I've had it before as well. Oh, that sucks." And Suzanne says, "Yeah, fellas, my 14-year-old boy got me to the truck, drove to the neighbors, and called the ambulance." Oh,
Wow.
oh,
That sounds scary, Suzanne.
yeah, that would suck.
I'm glad she's being taken care of.
And Brad says, "I've been better, but not worth complaining about. Thank you. I hope things look up for you, Brad. I really do." And Taylor
Yeah,
says,
good luck.
Euler Greg says, "Warning, warning," arms waving wildly. And Brad Wolf says, "Suzanne, I'm sorry to hear about your health issues. Neither are conditions to take lightly, but I'm glad you are doing better." And then Suzanne says, "Brad Wolf, thank you so much for your kind words." Then Taylor here says, "That's right. This is the Swift dimension."
Is that
So
like
you're
the fifth? Is that like the fifth dimension?
No, this is the dimension where all the semis are flipped over and in the ditch.
But
Yeah. Brad Will says autocorrect is terrible for me. I'm not good at spelling, but my issue with it is my fat thumbs and then weird words that were
Oh,
what I was trying to say pop up.
yeah,
So, yeah.
that can be an issue sometimes.
Yeah. And well, gives us a robot, and then Suzanne says, "My boy's an amazing kiddo." Yeah. All right, that's all the chat. So Jill wants to get her thing up.
What
Thank
thing?
you for
What
What?
are we
What?
talking about?
What? Jill's getting
Oh,
her thing up.
right.
What?
Oh, you mean my slides?
right.
Oh,
and
that makes sense.
I've got a little bit of introduction here to cover for the beginning of season 2. I'm onto a new book. Erwin Allen's. The title's similar to what I was reading the whole last season, but I'm going to shout it out, and that is from Erwin Allen's Lost in Space, the authorized biography of a classic sci-fi series, at Volume 2 by Mark Cushman, and that's M-A-R-C. And it's another fantastic book, which I highly recommend. And there's so much to it. In fact, it's like I'm through several pages before it even gets to the first episode. But I'm going to skip all that. That's for later. That's it. I'll cover that in bits and pieces at a different time in the future. And in the meantime, I highly recommend the book for anybody. If you're a fan of Lost in Space, please do pick it up. Okay, bear with me just a moment here. I was going to do is, if I can do this without messing it up.
I'm just going to go get some water, guys. I'll be back in a minute or two.
Go for it. All right. This is a picture of the producer, which we spoke about last season, Erwin Allen, on the set of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Obviously, you guys, I'm sure you could tell that's most likely a submarine.
Okay, Pop. Just a sec. Well, you have a good night and have fun at work there, Brad.
Good luck, Brad.
Come back on the rewatch.
Yeah, good luck, Brad. Have a great night at work.
Night, Brad.
And as it says here, the busiest producer in show business on the set of Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. So, if you guys remember when we covered season 1, the episodes were written by several different writers, including some that went on to do Star Trek. But in most cases, if you remember the name Anthony Wilson did a lot of the script polishing on season 1. So it says here the most sympathetic producer in town, Erwin Allen, decided to retain Anthony Wilson as story editor on Lost in Space. So he's Lost in Space's version of DC Fontana, I guess you could say. So Anthony Wilson is story editor on Lost in Space and was willing to pay him well for his services. Wilson's contract from March 29th, 1966 guaranteed him $1,500 per week for not less than 40 or 52 weeks. So that's nice. They're paid even when they're not working, when they're on hiatus, which is pretty cool. It was a tiny sum for this era in television. Allen was happy with the story development and rewriting Wilson had performed on every episode during the first season of Lost in Space. Wilson's imagination and humor, combined with Jonathan Harris's notes for each script, had set the tone of the series as it developed. Erwin Allen not only approved of that tone, he was willing to pay top dollar for it. The level of spending extended to the cast as well, especially in the case of Jonathan Harris, who was now raised to $2,750 per episode, up from his first season flat rate of $1,750. This made him the highest paid actor on the series, surpassing Guy Williams, who was top paid during season 1. Obviously because of Zorro, but then they realized he wasn't the star, I guess. Williams was raised to $2,500, up from his first season flat fee of $2,000 per episode. Lockhart was raised to $1,750, up from $1,500. Goddard to $1,500, up from $1,250. Moomy to $1,250, up from $1,000. Kristen to $1,100, up from the first season deal as a Fox contract player, which paid $200 per day each worked. each day worked. So she's only paid the first season on 200 on the days that she worked. So that means she wasn't paid when she wasn't working. But now during the second season, she was straight up paid 1,000 per episode, which is good.
So
Carl,
she was paid by the hour, then, not like a contract type of pay. It sounds like, right, Pup? Like,
for what I read here, both her and Bob May, the guy that played the inside of the robot, were paid. They weren't on contract. They were just paid for the days they worked.
right? Okay, makes sense.
Cartwright's was up 1,000, up to 1,000, up from her season one flat rate of 850 per episode. Bob May, the guy who plays the robot I just mentioned previously, Bob May's deal was set at a day rate at $125 each day, up from $100 per day during season one. So even though he was given a raise, he still was not under contract. So he can be fired at any time. But don't worry, they obviously never fired him. Nobody could play the robot like Bob May could. And I'm going to try to pull these pictures up here. A new addition to the team was Sandra Sandy Gimple, 26 and standing 5'1" tall. Gimple was hired to replace Harry Monty as Billy Mooney's lighting double and stunt performer.
And I'm going to see if I can show that. I do have her picture here. Bear with me,
Do
guys.
you want me to run it through the inflation calculator, those numbers?
That's okay. I thought about that, but I know we've got a lot to cover tonight. But I appreciate that, Gorilla. Thank you.
Alrighty.
So, did you say they hired a female to be, was it Billy Mooney's stunt double? Or did I mishear that?
That is correct, because the first one, Bill Mooney outgrew the first one from the first season.
Huh.
Because, of course, since he was 12, he was sprouting. So, yes.
Seems
Yeah,
a bit
that
odd
makes sense. It's not odd because you don't have to deal with the labor laws.
Yeah,
Child
but
labor laws.
you think getting a female to play a male character seems a bit unusual. I don't know. I mean, you'd
Well,
think
not really,
you might.
because they're going to show him only from the back, and when he does stunts, like from a distance.
I guess
And
she's a
that's
lot
her.
big. She looks a lot larger than him, though. Like, well, I guess it'd be nice if they were both standing. It's hard to tell, I suppose, but
Well, I've got another picture here. I'll share with you guys.
I imagine she must have been around the same height. I'm just going to take a guess at that.
A
But
little, yeah, yes, but a little different. But I'll show that.
attractive woman, though. Very nice looking lady. These books are awesome, though. I got to say, these books are just such. I mean, I'm so impressed. Like, I can't believe that there's this much information that actually still exists after all these years. And the way he's gathered it all in these books, I think, is extremely impressive.
It is. It's amazing. The guy really knows his homework.
I wish I would have covered his books on Jill's TOS streams.
I'm incorporating them now, but yeah, it would have been better if we had them earlier on. I agree.
There's another picture if you want to compare their heights.
Okay, yeah, she's definitely, you know, what, good 6-8 inches taller, I'm guessing. Right?
But I guess on film they consider it not as noticeable, unless
Well,
you're standing next to another character like the robot or something. You know, you're not going to notice.
Yeah, it's probably just brief scenes too, so you probably wouldn't notice if it's just a short bit.
Yeah. And welcome Low Specs Linux Laptop. He gives us a penguin.
Hey, Low Specs.
Hello there. Good to see you there.
And hey, Scurvy, how are you doing?
Hey, Lemon.
Everybody say hi. He's asking Suzanne how she is. And then Suzanne's telling him to leave the hospital tomorrow. Sorry, you've been in so long. I'd be happy for you to leave tomorrow, Suzanne. Yeah, we all are. And welcome, Cody Guy.
Hey, Cody.
Hello, Cody Guy.
Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
And welcome, DVB.
Hello,
Hey,
DVB.
It says he hopes we all been doing well.
Absolutely. I'm feeling much better. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, everybody saying hi. We're all caught up.
Thank you, Gorilla. The stunt double that I was referring to, I want to cover really quick. Sandra Sandy Gimple, the one I just showed pictures of, who's Bill Mooney's stunt double, and um, stand in for like lighting. They would have her stand there when they're setting up lighting and everything before the cameras rolled. She would stand there because she's similar size, and they get all their cameras, lights ready, and everything's perfect. They tell her, "Okay, thank you," and she would step off. Billy Mooney would step in, and then shoot his scene. So that's how Hollywood works. In case you're not aware of it, but I wanted to mention that she was sent out to Star Trek, in which she played one of the Telosians. Apparently, this job, one of Gimple's first screen appearances was for the Star Trek. No, I'm sorry. Before this, here, ready for this. In 1964, one of Gimple's first screen appearances was for the Star Trek pilot film The Cage. She was one of the keepers, the small, frail, bald-headed alien men on the planet Talos 4, where Captain Christopher Pike was imprisoned. So if you remember, there's three Telosians. The one in the center did, well, even though they didn't physically talk, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The one in the center did most of the communicating with Pike, and the other two kind of nodded their heads in agreement.
Gosh.
So Sandra here, who was Bill Mooney's stunt double, played one of the Telosians from The Cage.
I gotta
Awesome.
say, they certainly hid her beauty very well in The Cage, because I never would have guessed she was such an attractive lady, because she looked very attractive in the photos you showed a little while ago, and I would have never thought she was attractive with that head appliance on her. But oh well, that's Hollywood, I guess, right?
The head appliance and that robe, it was just like a one piece that just like almost like
Yeah.
a shower curtain that just hung off her body. I guess you couldn't really see the way she was built.
Yeah, not exactly too attractive, that's for sure. Yeah.
But that's great to hear, though. So okay, so
That was,
she went on from
yeah.
actually, and so since The Cage was filmed in '64, that shows you how long it took from when they filmed The Cage to when Star Trek actually went into production.
Oh
Because
yeah.
remember, The Cage was rejected, then they had to go back, start over again, and then rewrite and make a new pilot, and so on and so forth. As
Yeah,
you
it
guys
must
all know, the rest is history.
it would have been a
Yes.
couple of years, I'm guessing, roughly.
It was 1966.
Yeah. Someone's got a
Okay,
train going.
that's me. I apologize for that.
Yeah, can't be me. They took our
No worries.
railroad tracks out 40 years ago. And oh, we got a bunch of cupcakes here from Taylor Swift.
Oh.
Yummy. I hope they're
Oh, boy.
chocolate.
No, it looks like pink and blueberry.
Oh, that'll work. So today we are going to be covering. We finally made it to season 2, episode 1 of the Lost in Space, and this one is called "Blast Off into Space." And this episode premiered on Wednesday, September 14th, 1966, just as the kids were going back to school. And its description is as follows: a space miner is blasting the planet apart, and the Robinsons have to leave, even though Smith wants to stay and become rich. And I noticed they give this a 6.9 rating, which isn't too bad out of 10. This was written by Peter Packer, and we all remember that name from the first season. And considering it's Peter Packer, and I'd say it's pretty good for him, because we know that he wrote some of the weak ones from season 1. So in between this and the rewrites, I think we can owe a lot to them, because I don't know, in my opinion, the book speaks fairly well of this episode, because as we know, it's honest, and when there's a bad episode, it'll tell us so. But it seems to speak that it's fairly honorable about this episode. And right off the bat, I would say I like it too. It's a good kickoff for season 2. And for those who are not aware, Strother Martin, who plays Mr. Niram is an anagram for minor. So he is, to date, the biggest actor they've had on Lost in Space. And I'm
Really?
talking about, yes, I knew it would surprise you. He's even bigger than Guy Williams. For me, it was interesting, because at this time, he was doing some of the biggest movies in Hollywood. He was big time actor. In fact, I've got some of the things that he did lined up here to tell you guys.
Yeah, I do remember in the 60s and 70s, he was a pretty big star for a while there. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was actually strange to see him lower him because obviously back then they thought that if you did TV, that was beneath you if you were a theatrical actor or
Mm.
actress. But that he was not for him, not for Charlotte Martin. He was doing everything. He did the Twilight Zone, the original, and from there he went on to several TV shows. But what I want to bring out is some of his really big theatrical movies that he did. And by the way, he's definitely an extremely underrated and excellent, magnificent actor. The guy's like a live wire. He reminds me of Frank Gorshin, who played the Riddler on the Batman series. He's got some roles where he just like is very manic and crazy and just like full of energy. He usually ends up playing the bad guy because of his looks, and obviously from his looks, he played in a lot of westerns.
I remember those. Yeah.
But for example, some of the big ones that he did was he was in like the big western with John Wayne, The Sons of Katie Elder, and he was in, of course, Lost in Space and Gorilla. We will see him again when we get to the third season of Gilligan's Island. He was also in the Invaders PvP.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yes.
I forgot that. Gosh.
And one of his big roles, and he's got the famous line that everybody remembers, is from the Paul Newman movie Cool Hand Luke, where he is the warden of a chain gang prison. And the famous line is, "What we have here is a total lack of communication." And he was also in the Wild Bunch, True Grit, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Ballad of Cable Hogue, Henny Colder. So, and of course, the movie that I spoke once about on my stream about was with him and Dirk Benedict, where he turns him into a snake. And of course, let's not forget about the fantastic and amazing cameo he did in Up in Smoke, where he played Chong's father. And at the very beginning of Up in Smoke, it shows Tommy Chong leaving home. His dad's cussing at him, saying, "Why can't you be like the neighbor kid? You're just a loser. All you do is sit and get high all the time." And then Tommy Chong flips him off, steals the grill off of his Rolls Royce, puts it on his VW, and then leaves. And then off into history, and he meets Cheech Marin.
This would be how I know him.
I'm just taking a look. His filmography is huge. There must be like 50 films here. And hey, he was in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. That was a great film in the early 60s.
Yes, Jimmy Stewart and John
Jimmy
Wayne.
Stewart. Yeah, Jimmy Stewart was great in that movie too. But I just wanted to mention, I really love The Wild Bunch. That's one of my all-time favorite westerns. It looks like he worked on some of the. Oh gosh, what was the director's name? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. But I think he worked on it. Let me take a look. I'll get quickly
Sam
here.
Peckinpah?
Sam Peckinpah. Yeah, I think he was on a few films because
Yes,
I think
he was.
Ballad of Cable Hogue was. He was a star in that one, and that was a Peckinpah film too, I believe. So
Yes, Sam Peckinpah was from Fresno, California.
yeah, that's another great film. Ballad of Cable Hogue is actually an awesome film too. So
Almost everything Peckinpah did was he was very eccentric. He had like one patch over one eye.
he was a character, that's for sure. Oh my goodness, he was in Slapshot, 1977. That's a hilariously good comedy. I love that movie. Wow, he did have a hell of a career.
Right, he would do comedy too. That's another thing. Not only did he play bad guys, but he also did comedy. He was very, very, very versatile. Very versatile. Now, obviously, he came from what does not exist anymore, and that's called a character actor. That's something Hollywood would not know what that is anymore, and they don't hire them, which is really, really sad. We mentioned that before, but this is like a grade A textbook example of a character actor, and one at the top of his game. And unfortunately, he didn't live very much longer past this. He died in 1980. But I'm just so excited. Well, here's what's interesting is when I was a little kid watching this, I didn't realize who he was and his background. But now I'm watching this again. I was like, wait a second, I forgot that's right. Charlotte Martin is in this. And like I said, it's hard to believe because he's the biggest out of everybody they've had. In fact, probably out of all three seasons, I'd have to say.
So he was bigger than Michael Rennie, I'm guessing, at that point.
Michael Rennie was only known for The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Yeah, he was kind of like over by the 50s, wasn't he, more or less?
He was. Right, Strother Martin, I could go on and on and on about his career.
Oh, it's huge. I'm looking at the TV stuff now, and he did Gunsmoke, Have a Gun Will Travel, Twilight Zone, Perry
I remember when he was on
Mason.
Beretta. I remember Beretta. I remember everything. Yeah, it's like a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff I've seen.
And he was on Gilligan, and The Invaders, like you mentioned earlier there, Pop, and Bonanza, Daniel Boone. Like, he was in so much good stuff. Rockford Files, even. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. He
And
was
he's
a
just
very
great.
versatile actor.
He was. When I was a little kid, I didn't like him because I thought, well, he's always I thought, he's a bad guy. He's really mean, because I'd seen him in everything I'd seen him in, and he was a bad guy. And of course, once you get older, then you start realizing that's an actor, and you appreciate him for what he does. And it's like he's probably one of the best bad guys that there ever was. I'd have to say. I can't say enough about Strother Martin.
Yeah, he was a really first-rate actor for sure.
Yes, and it was great to see him in here, and he plays well off of Jonathan Harris.
Oh yeah.
Okay, sorry for the going off track there, everybody, but okay, now we're ready to get started.
That was some good actor history.
Can we just mention how crappy that statue looked of Dr. Smith?
Oh yeah, definitely the spirit of space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say Smith's artistic skills are just about as good as everything else that he does.
Hey,
pretty
The
bad.
thing is, Smith is completely ignoring the fact that there's going to be an earthquake because he has to pay honor to himself.
Of course, to himself.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. Hey, PvP, can you read this real quick?
The dark
Oh,
lord
no.
of eggnog is upon us. Well, after the weekend, Lemon, I definitely was the Dark Lord, so yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, DVB here says, "What is Slapshot? Never heard of it. What is it about PvP?"
George Scott, wasn't it?
No, it was Paul Newman, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Gotcha.
Let me just take a quick look. I've got it here. Where the heck is it? Yeah, just bring it up on the old Wikipedia here. It was directed by George Roy Hill.
Right.
Paul Newman was the star. And then a bunch of, pretty much, other than Strother Martin, it looks like a bunch of unknowns to me. But it was hilarious because basically it was about hockey. I think it took place like in Minnesota or one of the northern U.S. states. I think it was an American hockey team. But it was absolutely hilarious because it totally nailed the weird, brutal world of hockey to a T. You know, as a Canadian that's watched, hundreds of, well, probably thousands of hockey games in my lifetime, it totally got the whole hockey scenario. And the great thing was Paul Newman, he was like a major star back then. And it was so funny to see him as the coach of this like minor league hockey team. And he was cursing like a sailor through the whole film, which I loved because it was like just blue language through the whole damn movie, right? And to hear Paul Newman talking like this, of course, I never heard him in any other film say stuff like that. So I was just loving every scene he was mouthing off, and it was so hilarious. And you had two guys called the Hanson brothers, the characters, and they were just like a couple of goons, these two brothers. So they just like lay people out on the ice, and it was pretty hilarious actually. And then I remember at the end of the scene, there's one right at the end, one of the players for some reason decides to strip on the ice, and he's basically down, skating around on the ice in nothing but his jock strap, which is absolutely hilarious. So yeah, it's a movie really worth checking out if you want to see a good crazy comedy. Slapshot's a good one.
So in other words, Paul Newman and Strother Martin have a history of working together.
They did in that film anyway.
At least
I'm
two
not sure.
movies that we know of. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I need to check it out.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good film.
Yeah, Suzanne, have a good night there. Hopefully we caught you before your phone died. Have a good night.
Suzanne.
Night, Suzanne.
Thank you, Gorilla.
Yeah, take care, Suzanne. DVB says, just looked it up, Slapshot. Looks like a good flick. Gotta check that out. See you next time, Suzanne. DVB says, I'm going to watch Slapshot in the near future. You sold me on it, PvP.
Oh, cool. Cool, DVB.
All right.
Awesome.
Yep, same here. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna obtain it here soon. Especially knowing the Strother Martin's in it. It's like, oh god, oh goodness. I think I saw it years ago. Maybe when it was at the theaters, or when it was still relatively new. But I'm gonna check it out again. If it's not fresh in my memory, I want to see it. Two
Yeah,
fine
well, it,
actors.
it was 1977. I think I probably didn't see it quite that early, but I think I saw it a few years after that on one of the cable TV channels, the movie channels that, my parents had way back in the day.
Yes, of
And
course. Right, being it was 1977, it got lost in the shuffle with two little movies called Star Wars and Smokey and the Bandit.
yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's just a really funny. It's just one of those crazy comedies. You kind of got to watch it to believe it because some of the stuff is pretty nuts in that movie. So it's a good time.
All right. I'll check it out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all the chats.
Thank you, Gorilla. And so this is where we meet the guy who I've been talking about this whole time. It's Strother Martin playing Mr. Narum. And he comes, of course, this is as Jill was saying, Dr. Smith was congratulating himself. And he has his statue of himself. And he's giving a speech and so on. Will gets the warning about the earthquakes that what's Marta Christian's name? I keep getting the name to the actors and their characters' name.
Oh,
Judy.
Judy.
Right. Judy comes and warns Will about the explosions, and that the dad says that the planet is pretty much breaking apart. And she warns Will, and Dr. Smith pretty much shrugs it off because he wants to finish his commencement speech first. And then they'll go back to the ship. And as they do, this is when we meet Mr. Narum, this miner here, who tells them, no, the planet's not breaking apart. That's just me doing some blasting. And at this point here, the earthquakes or the shocks seem to subside temporarily.
Are we supposed to be getting some kind of anti-mining message in this episode?
I don't think so, actually, Gorilla.
No. Westerns were still big at the time. And with Westerns, we got a lot of miners. So I think and remember, this is Peter Packer, who came from a background of writing Westerns.
Okay.
And I know. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the thing is, too, I think the mining thing is just part of the storyline since they wanted the spaceship, the Jupiter 2, to fly away at the beginning of season 2 and get off this planet and have some different adventures.
Yes.
So I think it was basically just a plot device to make the Jupiter 2 have to leave because the whole planet was going to explode. So
right. I agree. No more
so
stalling.
You want to leave? Let's destroy it.
That's right.
Don't worry about the little girl who's sleeping underground. Forget about her and all those other civilizations under.
That's right.
And all those other creatures. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Noble. Mr. Nobody's gone, I guess. So yeah. So like the girl and all the rest of them, right?
Yeah, they're all toast now.
It does show Mr. Narum rise out of a crater that he is working down below. And they'll show here what he's mining. Of course, Cosmonium. We get the word Cosmo again.
Here he says he's from the galaxy of southern fish, but the thing is that the southern fish is a real constellation, and another constellation, Fomalhaut, he also says, is also part of our galaxy, but it doesn't really narrow down where he actually is from.
I'm surprised that they were actually real names. I didn't know that. Thank you, Jill.
Yeah, that's cool.
You're welcome.
Well, can't the southern fish constellation be like other galaxies that look like stars?
Is that question for who's that question for?
Well, I was kind of asking Jill on that one, but anybody?
Yeah, I got nothing.
I don't know.
What's the question exactly?
Well, can't the constellations be like faraway galaxies that look like stars to us?
Well, a constellation can be part of one galaxy or another galaxy, and it's just like you're not you've got to determine. You can have two galaxies make up one constellation, the stars from it, and so that's why it doesn't really narrow down exactly where he lives because it's such an expansive space. Like, you know.
Oh, that's cool. I never realized that there could be two different galaxies in a single constellation. That's cool, Joe. I learned something today. Yes.
All right, we'll send you a cookie there, PvP.
I don't mind a cookie. Cookies are good.
Oh, actually, we got.
But
got
if
Oh,
if
sorry,
they're
go ahead.
sent in the mail, they might dry out, so you can put them in a bag with a piece of bread.
oh no, we just
them
got
demoisturized.
sent about 200 cookies. Get it split a bit, bunks to like 9 of us. So
Oh, yummy.
That sounds good. Cookie
yeah,
party.
it's, thank you from one of our customers. That was a thank you from our insurance company.
Now tell me some of them are chocolate, right?
No, they're all like sugar cookies with buttercream frosting.
Oh, that's okay. Considering how much they cost, yeah, I would accept it.
They're delicious.
I wanted to throw in this here too. A switch to color would add approximately $25,000 onto the cost of each episode filmed. Remember, back then it was more expensive to film in color than it was in black and white. That is now the opposite, because back then everything had been up to that point mostly black and white, so that's what everybody was used to. So they had to pay extra for color. But now, since we've been shooting with color for so many years, if we were to film a black and white episode of something, it costs more money. So it's actually reversed. So the network knew that, and they went ahead and agreed to the extra $25,000 per episode. As a result, the target budget for each episode of Lost in Space now moved up to $159,497. This made Lost in Space one of the most expensive series on television. Only Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, with its third season, per episode target price of $166,485, and Star Trek with its first season episodes set at $193,500 each. So yeah, this was the most expensive till Star Trek came along, pretty much. Also, switch to color would also slow down the process of filming, because apparently they had to do the lighting and everything was completely different from when they had to shoot in black and white. And it says here they had to struggle with it at first. Even after solutions were found with the lighting and filming, there was still a problem that the network's color telesign equipment of the time had very low contrast ratios, making inventive or creative photography more of a challenge. Star Trek's director of photography, Jerry Finnerman, excelled at dramatic color lighting, despite the technical limitations, and MSC fought him every step of the way. A final concern of the networks regarding transmitting in color was that every color receiver at the time varied in quality, and consumers didn't know how to properly adjust them. So, and plus, of course, the majority of people still have black and white televisions, which was
Yeah, my parents didn't get a color set till 1973, so we were watching black and white for a long, long time after this.
I think for us it was 75, 76.
Yeah, well, maybe it was 75. Sometime between 73 and 75. Yeah, my own memory fades.
And it was a rent to own used piece of junk.
No. My parents actually bought a brand new Quasar for like $1,200. It was expensive back then.
Right. That's why we went to rent to own. We couldn't afford it. And the ones they gave us were on their last leg. Every time my mother would go and buy one.
Oh.
Now, this was rent to own where you've got like a year or two contracts. And you're paying 10 times what the piece of junk is worth. And it would only last for a few months before it would burn out. And you still have to pay out the contract. Those things, it was called rent to own. I'll never forget that business. Don't ever get anything from there, no matter how desperate you get. Do not ever buy from rent to own.
Yeah, I never have. We had one here in town, and I just thought, nope, I'm not doing business with them because
everything's marked up 2 to 3 times the value, and most of what they sell is junk.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely stay away from them. So here we have back to the episode. Mr. Niram is telling him about what he is mining for. So he tells them that the planet is not breaking apart like Professor Robinson says. He says that all the earthquakes are from his mining and his blasting. He takes Dr. Smith, Will, down below to his mine to show them. And what he's mining is it, which you see here in the little beaker, is cosmonium. And of course, which immediately makes Dr. Smith's ears perk up for the value. And he asks if it's, that's basically what he does. He asks Mr. Niram about the value and if it's precious. And Mr. Niram tells him that it's more precious than any jewel that he can get. It. I can't remember exactly verbatim what he said because I watched this week before last. But it's basically more valuable than anything else in the universe, I think is the way he explains it, right? More precious.
I forget too because I haven't watched it in a couple of weeks now. So
I'm
Well,
sorry,
it's
everybody.
He said he was a lot more valuable than the dead rocks that Dr. Smith was.
Yep, that's right. In fact, there's diamonds laying all over the floor, and Dr. Smith gets all excited, and he just pushes them out of the way. So that's nothing.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was
Yeah.
laughing
Nuisance is
so
what he
hard.
says.
Yeah, I was laughing really hard there because every time Dr. Smith would go to grab a diamond there, he'd just kick it away.
Yes,
That's right. Your cosmonium, is that like the old cosmic thing in Lost in Space again? Kind of. It's like
Well,
Yeah.
everything's
there's a lot.
cosmic.
Yeah, yes, cosmic storm, cosmic pie. Right. So everything's cosmic, right?
That's right. That's right. Cosmic coffee, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's like a gold liquid with sparkles,
Mhm.
and Will even says that it's like a bit of the sun in there.
You know what I
And
love
then,
about Smith though? He's so greedy. He trusts this guy that he's only met like that day. He takes his word over. Oh, don't worry, the planet's not going to explode. Don't listen to the captain of your ship. Because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm here making lots of money off of mining this stuff. And of course, I'm being totally honest. And I'm not just like thinking of the bucks and to hell with the planet, right? Which of course he is.
well, they established, right, especially because they established in the first season during the first episode that Professor Robinson's a geologist, so he would know more about that planet than some miner would.
Exactly.
And also, this planet is kind of hollow, so
Which, yes,
So
we've
it's kind of
learned that as
mining.
well. Yes.
not a good thing.
Well, I think the reason it's hollow is because the way it orbits there, all the matter's getting like pulled into a regular circle.
That's
Kind
possible.
of holding it out.
Well, I just mean because they have so many people and civilizations living under there, so it's got to be a little fragile.
Not for long, I guess, huh?
No,
And here's
but this cosmonium stuff, it doesn't really make any sense. It's the quintessence of life, the highly concentrated essence of life. Okay, sure.
That's kind of Lost in Space's charm, though. One of the things why I love this show is because a lot of it doesn't make much sense if you think about it too much. But it's just like just go with it and have fun, right? Kind of show.
yes.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned here when I was talking about the behind the scenes of season 2, this is where they realized that Jonathan Harris is a standout character. That's why he got the raise. He's now making
Mhm.
more than the rest of the cast. So now we're going to have a complete switch to where you are definitely going to see a lot less of the other cast moving forward. So this is where you're going to see a lot of Will, Dr. Smith, and the robot because they realize, and this is season 2 where they're going up against Batman.
Yeah.
So you're going to see that shift in tone as well.
Yeah, it definitely turns into a little more of a comedy in some episodes in season 2 for sure.
Yes. And of course, Dr. Smith has even more of his literatives with the robot, you'll see. Blithering Bumpkin, I think that's a new one for the season 2.
DVB here is laughing at Jill. He says, "LOL at Jill." DVB says, "Gotta appreciate the integrity of Jill's logic. Much respect."
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
And
Definitely. That's why I'm so blessed to have her here.
and Scurvy here says, when I wrote my review of Orion's belt, I gave it just 3 stars.
Okay.
Yeah. And DVB says 159,497 adjusted for inflation or at the time.
At
That's
the
at the
time.
time.
You can run that if you want, Gorilla.
195 for what?
So 160,000.
167. 160,000?
160,000. Yeah, $159,497. That's
Yeah.
just $3 short of 160,000.
1966?
Yeah.
Yep.
All
I like how they get it down to $7 on the end there, though. That's pretty cool.
Right. Well, we're not going to give you 160,000, but we'll give you 159,497. Of course.
I know, it's hilarious, right? Like,
So basically, $1.5 million per episode is like $1,493,318.
All right. Thank you, Gorilla.
cool.
Then let's see. Euler Greg says, "Cheers." Then Scurvy says, "Cheers" back to Euler. Says, "I'm guessing not adjusted for inflation because if I remember right, every episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation costs at least $1 million per episode in the '90s, not adjusted for inflation." Then DVD
Yeah,
says,
I think that's possible.
Yeah, and welcome, Herc. Welcome.
Hey, Herc.
I just remember
Hello.
with the Next Generation, I remember an interview with Denise Crosby, who played Tasha Yar in the first season.
Yeah.
She was saying that they were so stingy that when they went on lunch break, she would have to walk over to the sets of other shows to eat the food, the craft catering.
Didn't have enough craft
Because,
services for their own crew? What? That's crazy.
Yeah, right. So she said she would walk over and eat on the sets of other shows.
Yeah, and here TVB said he wanted to make sure. I said I wasn't laughing at Antiderivative Jill. I was laughing at something she said that was funny.
That is a fine distinction.
And apparently we're getting some spades invading a heart and another spade. I know there's a joke in there somewhere, but I don't think Pop wants me to say it on this stream. That's a release for the last joke.
Get up there. Go.
All right, that's all the chats.
Thank you, Gorilla. And here's where Professor Robinson is talking more about the planet breaking up. And
Yeah.
Go ahead,
And
Joe.
he uses this really weird word.
Myoseismal?
Myoseismal, which is really weird because he's talking about geology, but meiosis, it's a cell division. So they're integrating, for some reason they're integrating biology, cell meiosis with with the seismic force of the
I blame
and it,
Go ahead.
How you spell it? I'll look it up. What it actually?
No, it's okay. It's okay, Gorilla. It's not going to make sense. It doesn't make any sense because they're smashing together biology and geology, and it's just they just thought, oh, these two words sound good together. Let's smash them together.
It sounds like a weird illness of some sort. When I look at it, it's like, that sounds.
It's probably
bad.
it's probably Peter Packer's fault.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
My favorite author of Lost in Space.
Well, I don't. This episode's not bad. It's just that these words are kind of funny to me.
Well, for Peter Parker, this is a classic. Like, it's actually pretty good for his writing. So.
Oh, definitely. No. This one too. The core of the planet is in the condition of molten ferment. So that just kind of makes the core of the planet.
Oh man, I forgot that.
It makes it sound kind of tasty.
It sounds like the miners brewing some beer down there or something. Jeez.
Well, no, it sounds like it's an episode for the hub. Nothing okay.
What's the hub? I don't know what that is.
I don't know if I want to know.
For hub.
Okay, I get the joke now.
Yeah.
Actually, molten
No,
ferment
that's the
does.
way
Yeah.
they worded it. There, just the way they worded it. There's a dirty
Oh
joke in
boy.
this somewhere.
Oh, there definitely was. Hey, what do you guys think about the uniforms in color? They're kind of cool, right?
Yeah, this color here is fantastic. I like this color even way better than Gilgit Island.
Well, I guess there's more of a variety here. Gilligan's Island, it's just like, solid red and white with Gilligan, solid blue and white with Skipper.
Well, Gilligan was like more real world, even though it was basically a fantasy. But when you're talking sci-fi like this, I mean, you're going to have some bold colors quite often, right? So
Well, let's
Well,
not forget, though, Ginger's costume, her and Marianne, they had a pretty good selection of wardrobe and the house.
that's
well,
true.
PvP. This is like the '60s had a distinct color there. The '70s
Oh,
had
yeah.
a distinct color.
Yep.
The '80s there had a distinct color. Then everything kind of faded out, and nothing's really changed since then.
Yeah, it seems like it. Well, yeah, I think the '80s was the last decade that really had any personality, really, because after that, it kind of just all blends together,
Well, they moved to a cheaper color process.
Mm.
So it's why it doesn't look like it does here.
I love
And
'60s color though. It's my favorite decade for color TV. It looks so good.
it does. And this was season 2 in color, just like Gilligan's Island season 2 in color. They were both. This is
Mm.
66 for both of them. So you would have found Gilligan's Island at the same time that during the week would be. They were also on season 2. So it was around the same. In fact, I Dream of Jeannie was on season 2. It was now being in color. Bewitched was now in season 2, which was now being in color. So a lot changed right there in this 1 year of
Oh,
66.
yeah, '66 was the year when most shows went to color.
Yes. Except for my favorite Martian was in its third and final season.
Okay.
Because I was just reading that the color coordinator on My Favorite Martian went over and started working on Lost in Space.
Oh, really?
Yes, they had to pull him because the regular crew from Lost in Space, they didn't have quite the experience working with color yet. So they had to start pulling people from other shows. Which is good because it looks really good. So here's where, yes, he's still warning them. He says in a matter of hours, the planet will cease to exist. So they are on a timeline. Basically, he says they need to get packed. They've got enough fuel drilled, thanks to him, because remember, he had that alien that kind of possessed his body an episode or two ago and gave him the knowledge of drilling for fuel and converting the engines to where it could run it. And which is what he's doing now.
And the alien also helped him fix the landing pad and the entire ship and everything. All of the issues from the crash, all gone.
All gone. And of course, Dr. Smith is in no hurry to leave because he believes what Mr. Nairn told him, and that is that the planet is not breaking apart, but it's just Mr. Nairn blasting for more cosmonium. And of course, Dr. Smith wouldn't really care unless he figures he's got something at stake in the deal. And of course, he gives away the secret because the first thing he does is he tells Will not to say anything about Mr. Nairn. And then, of course, that secret doesn't last very long at all. So now they're telling, which I think is, we kind of brought this up during the first season, is they basically tell everybody, they say, yeah, there's a man on the planet named Mr. Nairn who's mining the planet, causing the explosions, but nobody wants to meet him. You think Mom and Dad, or at least Dad and Don, would say, okay, we want to meet this guy, but it's like, oh, okay.
It really is how they dealt with stuff in the first season. There's something going on, let's meet him.
Exactly right. Well, of course, especially if they have something to do with that planet acting like that. You would think they at least want to meet them once, but I thought it was kind of odd in the script, but they don't. It's like, oh, okay, we'll take your word for it. Because this episode, like I said, and we're going to be seeing a lot more episodes like this, the episode is focused more around Will, Dr. Smith, and the robot. And by the way, the credit to the statue, well, I guess I'll mention when we get there later. And now we have Maureen and Judy packing up and getting everything ready. And of course, they're having to unload, throw out anything that's not bolted down, which means they're going to try to lighten the weight to get the ship off the ground. And it's funny because you see them tossing out some of the props from season 1.
All right, I got a question for everybody.
Ooh.
Would you keep your junk, but Dr. Smith has to stay on the planet, or throw your junk out, your stuff out, and Dr. Smith comes along with you?
You're right. This is a good opportunity. They say, okay, Mr. Nairn's your friend. Why don't you go there and stay with him for a little while? And we're just going to be busy over here. And they can just leave without telling them, right?
That would be great. Yeah. Well, they could just say, hey, Nairn is such a good buddy. You fly away with him and his ship before the planet explodes, Smith. But of course, they wouldn't do that because he's now the star of the show, right? So, But I think that would have been fun to see Smith get booted, but oh well.
Now, personally, I will have had the rule of, you don't help us at all, you ain't getting it right.
Well, yeah, exactly, because they are that's a lot of work. They're having to get everything packed and get that ship ready to go.
Yeah, my final. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to mention, we got through season 1. Now we're starting season 2, and they're throwing out all the stuff, because they got to reduce the weight. And I'm thinking, okay, once you fly away and you land on some other planet, what are you going to do with all the stuff you toss? Like, you're not going to have a lot of stuff that you might have needed, right? So it seems a bit strange, but.
Well, apparently the stuff that they're getting rid of is not needed.
Not essential.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, perhaps they created things that were more useful during their time on the planet that they're keeping, and so some of the things that they brought with them from Earth are no longer useful.
Well, I guess that rope Maureen's carrying, she might have just done some weaving or something to create that over the last year, I'm guessing.
All right. Well, is that the rope that they used during the first and second episode where Professor Robinson, where he got cast adrift outside the ship? And remember, he had to use a rope to latch on to pull himself back to the ship?
That could be, actually. Gosh.
They get rid of a lot of sporting equipment, too.
They could just leave the bloop behind.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was wondering about sporting equipment. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I didn't know they had that much with them.
Well, Will did say that if you want to keep your tennis racket, then you can leave bloop behind. And then Penny got all upset at him for that comment.
I'm sure she would.
He quickly did that. I'm sorry. Don't tell mom and dad I said that.
Was just kidding.
The monkey's got to be at least 30 pounds though, so that would help, right? Okay, I'm just.
Yeah, but you guys remember, this is Penny we're talking about. She's not gonna get rid of bloop.
Penny was. Yeah, she's gonna get upset.
Well, someone told me last season that this was the last time we saw Bloop, so I didn't realize he was coming back at all. Anyway, I thought he was gone.
I don't know if we get Bloop, he or she, in further episodes. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think Bloop does eventually disappear from the show, but I can't remember when it exactly is. So
yeah, I'd say the same thing. If Bloop does it. But I don't remember this either. But I'm sure it's not too far in the future. I'll put it that way. I'm sure it's soon.
Could be, yeah.
He was, too demanding of an actor.
That's true, right? Maybe Bloop demanded a raise.
Us primates demand fair wages.
Want more bananas. It's like, give me more bananas every week. Come on.
Maybe
that's racist towards my people there, PvP.
What's that?
I said that's racist towards my people there, PvP.
What? You don't eat bananas? Come on, that's not racist. It's a
dietary
but choice.
That's a stereotype.
Okay. Well, yeah, but monkeys do like bananas, don't they? At least I thought they do. Oh boy, I walked
All right,
into that one.
DVB says the old style fashion, the old style fashion style of the show is actually pretty cool. Yeah, it is. There. And Scooby says hi to Taylor Swift, etc. Hey, DVB. DVB says it would be cool if society got back to wearing brighter, stylish clothes, like the fashion from the this Lost in Space episode.
I agree.
They did in the 90s for a little while.
Yeah. And TVB says, gotta say, this is a great stream, Pops, Grill, and Jill. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thumbs up, fire. All right, we're all caught up.
Hey, Jill, are you talking about when everybody was walking around in those fluorescent clothes for a couple years?
Yes.
Oh God, I hated
Well-
that trend so much.
Well, just
They look like-
remember,
They look
Fresh
like
Prince.
clowns.
Maybe they're trying to compete with MTV.
Oh, it was horrible. I cringed every time I'd see these people strutting around in this
Well-
like these. Oh, go ahead, Jill.
Well, every kid from the 90s had those windbreaker jackets that had 2 different very bright colors on it.
Oh Lord,
Oh, you like Marty
Lord
McFly.
Almighty.
Yeah. A bit like that.
Yeah, but it wasn't just
Really
kids.
ahead
I
of
mean,
his time, apparently.
there were. I saw thousands of adults walking around in this stuff for like 2 years until the trend finally burned itself out. Thank goodness. But the most garishly awful color combinations that I could ever imagine. It's like no.
You're so offended by this.
I was offended by those contrasting colors. Yes.
Well, as an artist, I think that makes sense. I want to say hello to Cam Cam in the chat.
Hello, Cam Cam. Good to see you.
Yeah,
Okay.
hey, C4, how's it going? Hey, do you want to read this one, Jill?
Yeah, he says, hello, everyone. Antiderivative Jill, hi, and happy birthday. Again, have fun, everyone. I got to get up at 0 dark 30 to do some stuff.
Oh,
And
no
10
fun.
inches of snow.
Oh, that
even
don't sound like fun.
Oh.
Bundle
yeah,
up.
definitely.
You can keep it. We can send you some more if you want. Grant, it's just
Oh.
a dusting, but
Yeah, stay
Keep-
warm, Cam Cam.
yeah, he says, great to see you, Cam Cam. Cam Cam saying hi to everybody. All right, we're all caught up. Oh, I thought we were. Everybody's just saying hi to. All right, we are all caught up.
I wanted to mention something about Bob May, the actor who played the robot. So one day he's walking on the lot to go to lunch, and he's in his drab outfit, and he has the black makeup on his face. Now remember, he had to look through the glass on the robot to see, and they didn't want us as the audience to see his face peeking through, so he had blackface on. So he's walking on the lot to go to lunch. He's in a drab outfit, and
Oh,
he has
boy.
black makeup on his face. This gentleman in his suit and tie stops to speak to him and says, "Excuse me, I know you work here because I see you all the time. But I ask what it is you do?" And he's looking at Bob with his black makeup on his face and horrible clothing. So Bob told him that he was the guy inside the robot on Lost in Space. And the gentleman says, "And that's how they have you dress?" And then he said, "By the way, I'm Richard Zanuck, and we can't have you walking around looking like that. We'll be getting a call this afternoon from wardrobe," Bob said. "Well, thank you, Mr. Zanuck." At this time, Richard Zanuck was the son of 20th Century Fox founder Darryl F. Zanuck, who was the president of the studio. I know the name Zanuck because he's thank goodness to him, and bless him, he's the one that greenlit Planet of the Apes, because that's when Planet of the Apes came out with 67, the very first one with Charlton Heston. So that's why I immediately remember the name Zanuck was because of that. So Bob went back to work, and that afternoon he was called to wardrobe, and they gave him a very nice looking dark colored shirt and pants to wear. They were a lot nicer than what he had been wearing before. For the first episode of season 2, Guy Williams was scheduled to work for 5 days, as was Marta Kristen. Mark Goddard was needed for 4. Lockhart, Cartwright, May, and Strother Martin had 3 days on the filming schedule. Billy Mooney and Jonathan Harris topped the list as usual with 6 days each. The man behind the statue was on the schedule for 2. I like that it actually has all that in here. It's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
It's amazing
So, yeah.
the detail. Yeah.
So Bob May got a nice black suit, which is I thought was really nice, and I'm sure he appreciated it as well.
You
And
know
of
what
course,
I love?
it makes sense black too, so it wouldn't show up through the robot costume. Go ahead.
You know what I love about that story though is Zanuck is like, your clothes are unacceptable, but he didn't have mention anything about the blackface.
Well, back then,
No.
That's so funny.
back then nobody cared.
Yeah, it
Well,
wasn't a right. Well, it
wasn't as
wasn't
big a thing, yeah.
right. It wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't offend everybody like it does now. I'll put it that way.
Oh, well,
Remember, this
everybody's
was back in
offended
the
by
day,
everything. Yeah,
right? This was back in the
true.
day where it was. It took a lot to offend people.
Mm. Back when
Well,
adults
wait a
were actually
minute.
adults.
Wait a minute. From my own knowing Star Trek history, they had a problem with Spock being red because on black and white TVs he looked like he had blackface. So that's why they didn't have him be red. So clearly that was a thing that people were concerned about. And unfortunately, for the
Well,
history of
and
Star Trek, they were concerned.
Well,
wasn't there a little bit of controversy about let there be their last battlefield? Or no?
Yeah.
Jill, that was an issue.
Well,
that
luckily
they
they're aliens. So, but Spock's an alien. So,
Well, Jill, they had a problem with it. Then they went to put shoe polish on the Klingons. People playing Klingons.
well, see, that's a little different because I don't know.
They're bad guys.
I don't know because it's not straight up black. Like it's like a natural color.
Yeah, they're more like dark brown. I
Yeah.
don't know if that makes it any better, but
It
I never
does.
thought of
I
the
think it does.
Klingons as being like blackface, though. It just never occurred to
It's
me
not
when I
because
used to
they're
watch the show.
Klingons.
Yeah. Oh, it's all so weird. I don't know. Oh my god.
Yeah, but at least with your last battlefield, it's half white. So
So that makes it better.
yes, I'll be right back. I gotta go. Help my daughter with something.
Okay.
Gotcha. And
Right.
while Jill does that, I'm going to cover this. And go ahead and read the chat, Gorilla. Thank you.
Cap says freaking F and he's laughing. Then Cap says Herc if you're still around. Or hi Herc if you're still around. That's all the chats.
So this is a picture of Jonathan Harris.
And Bob May wearing his new dapper black clothing on the lot that day. So I guess they were so impressed they even took a picture.
And they posed together.
Oh, good looking clothes. Good looking clothes.
Yep, courtesy of Richard Zanuck. So yeah, I'm sure Bob May had no complaints there.
Well,
And-
Zanny could probably afford it because he had pretty deep pockets, I'm guessing. So.
Oh, absolutely. Well, considering his dad was the president of 20th Century Fox at the time. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Yeah, the Zanucks are kind of legends in Hollywood, I guess, aren't they? Really?
Yeah, actually, yeah, for many years.
Many years. Yeah.
All right, and I'm going to show another one here really quick before Jill gets back. This one here, there's a little bit of a glare, and it's kind of light, but I hope you guys can make it out. And this is in the set of the cave. So you'll see them getting ready for a scene here. And you can see Jonathan Harris standing there with Billy Mooney, and they've got the lighting, and you can see the crew on the left and the director and everything. So that's kind of cool. I'm glad they have some behind the scenes shots.
Yeah.
So we're okay. I need to share Jill's screen again.
There we go. Now we're back to the episode.
So we have Dr. Smith back down there talking down below, talking to Mr. Narum. And of course, he's just wanting to know more about the cosmonium. And Mr. Narum is telling him, but Mr. Narum asks about the others, Robinsons, and Dr. Smith says they're getting ready to leave. But of course, Dr. Smith tells Mr. Narum that don't worry about them because we both know the planet's not really breaking up. So at this point, Mr. Narum hasn't really told Dr. Smith everything. And even Mr. Narum even says, verbatim, I can't remember what it was. But he basically says that, Dr. Smith, you really do enjoy hearing that their plans are going to fail or something. I can't remember verbatim what he says. I need to try to find that. I'm sure for those of you who have seen this, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. He says, do you always get so much glee from other people's woes?
That's
Ah,
right.
that's it.
I
Yeah,
think that's or it's close enough to what he said.
that's
Yes,
pretty close.
thank you, Gorilla.
That's pretty close. Yeah. Yeah, I thought Smith was kind of a little bit extra slimy in this episode. Really, he was kind of really slimy in this one. He was
Well, yeah,
only thinking about himself as usual. Sorry.
Yeah.
and by the way, we were talking about the costumes. Bill Mooney said the first season, the silver flight suits or the burrito suits that Gorilla calls looked great, but everyone hated wearing them. They were so stiff that none of us could sit down. We had big boards with armrests we just had to lean back on. It was pretty funny. I loved the costume. It was blue, my favorite color, and it was nice and simple. I hated the second season red one. So apparently, Billy Mooney did not like the red one that we're seeing in this episode.
Oh, really? Wow.
So that's interesting. And as a kid, I guess that's probably not his bag. So, yeah, I don't blame him for that. And of course, there's Dr. Smith has that look on his face like he's up to no good. And here's where Mr. Niram is starting to pack up and take everything with him. And
Yeah, and including his mule, which, speaking of anagrams, the name of the mule is Rober, which is an anagram of Boro.
Yes, thank you, Jill. Appreciate that. And of course, the donkey is native to Earth, but they're not going to, or the burro is native to Earth, but who cares about that, right? Maybe he stopped by Earth and picked it up for his work.
Well, Peter Packard wasn't too worried, I guess, when he wrote the script.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, man.
And of course, Dr. Smith has his eyes set on the Cosmonium. And let's see here. So here we have the men. That's what I was trying to talk about. We were talking about during the last Lost in Space stream, not last week, but the week before. Is that central device? I think it's right. The central or the astrogator or whatever. That was the device that I was saying that was missing. It was in the first episode or two, or when they were in space. But once they landed on that planet, almost their whole first season, that astrogator was gone. So I guess they only need it for when they're actually going to be in space as part of the guidance system for the ship, because it is a central guidance system. That's what that's what they call it in the first season when the robot says destroy central guidance system. But I think they also call it like the astrogator or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think I heard you guys call it that before, but this is the first time I've heard the show call it an astrogator.
Oh, okay. So they do say that?
Yes, in this one they do.
Okay, good. All right, then we're not totally crazy.
I'm guessing when they're not flying in space, they just have a place somewhere where they store it away on the ship, because that way they got more room in the main control room, right?
Well, yeah, and as we all know, the Jupiter 2 has vast amounts of storage. I mean, what do you think they do with the Chariot? And we haven't even seen what they have hiding or in store for us for season 3, right?
That's right. Which is cool, very cool.
So what, they get a Ferrari or something?
Well, we don't want to give away too many spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it.
We'll eventually get into that.
Sounds like you got it right, Gorilla.
And of course, they're getting ready to they're preparing the ship to leave, but Dr. Smith wants to go pay one last visit to Mr. Naram.
And he's going to give him the. Fortunately, this is not the time to steal one of the thruster controls out of the main navigation system. But of course, he does
Yeah.
They
it
make
by
it seem
telling.
like it's the only thruster control.
Right. Well, I think they do make it sound like it is the only one. I guess you're right because Dawn has to bypass it. So I don't think they mentioned that there's more than one. Do they?
They don't. I was waiting for hearing
I
that
thought-
they have a backup or something.
I
They
thought
have several
I
of
thought
them.
it was their spare. I thought it was their spare one. The main one broke.
No,
I think they
there
mentioned that
there is
Dawn had to bypass
no
it.
extra.
Right. I think they mentioned that Don had to bypass it because they show him when he gets down and starts working inside that the central navigation console.
Makes sense if they did Gorilla. Because
You know that.
like
Oh, go ahead.
you can go.
I'm just going to say, like, Smith really he messes up everything in this episode. Like, he takes the thruster control, and then he gets conned into playing this weird card game, which he doesn't actually understand, but he still goes with it anyway. So he gets taken, and then he gets the cosmonium, but even that goes sideways, right? As the episode
Well, he
progresses.
only gets the cosmonium because the miner just leaves without it for no
Yeah,
reason.
basically, yeah. But
Yeah.
Smith basically ends up losing everything and gets nothing out of all his efforts in this episode.
Every
Well,
episode.
PvP. The term you're looking for is he got 5-card Montied.
Yeah, pretty much. Eh? But I mean, seriously, I think he does even worse than usual because sometimes he does maybe get some little bit of headway in an episode, but this one is like total strikeout on all levels.
Well, he proves that he finds out that greed doesn't pay.
It's just lucky that the ship could still take off, even in spite of all his meddling ways.
Well, wait a minute. He sees the consequences of greed, but I don't really think he learns his lesson.
Well, no, definitely, or at least not until
exactly.
next week.
Oh, this is cool.
Right. So they have an earthquake. The statue falls over, and Dr. Smith tells Will to help him pick up the statue and stand it upright. And while doing so, he accidentally drops the cosmonium onto the statue, which breaks the bottle and brings. Well, they haven't showed yet, but that's what the purple smoke was all about. And by the way, we get a return of the rocket pack. We haven't seen that in several episodes. And then I think this is our first instance of seeing Dr. Smith driving the chariot, isn't it?
I think so. And of course, he doesn't know how to drive, so that's Dr. Smith for you once again.
Right, and
Not a very
they
good driver.
entrust him to pick up the mining equipment. So,
Which
or
is
the
definitely
drilling
the
equipment,
last thing
rather.
you want to do. Right. The last thing you want to do if you ever plan on using that stuff again.
Yeah.
And apparently Billy Mooney approached Irwin Allen and was concerned that now that these episodes were filmed in color, he was afraid that his freckles were going to show up. And Irwin Allen said, don't worry, everything's in such color, everything pops out so much people won't even notice.
Yeah.
We did.
Now the chariot there, it looks like it had the same controls as the zero-turn lawnmower. Now, I don't know how to drive a zero-turn lawnmower, but I'm pretty sure I could drive it a lot better than Dr. Smith can.
Probably can. Now, I don't know. I'm not sure what a zero-turn lawnmower is, but you're talking about the two sticks, for left and right. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. You push both of them forward to go forward, pull them both back to go backwards. But if you want
pull the left one back to go left. Yeah. I used to have, when I was a kid, I had a toy that steered that way. It was a little pedal toy. I remember where you pedal it, and it had the two sticks like that. And of course, they're being patient for Dr. Smith, and because he's off still with Mr. Narum, because they're obviously not going to leave Will behind, and Dr. Smith. And now we get our blast off scene.
A lot of fire. That's some high strength steel.
Yeah, I'm eventually going to find some behind the scenes of like on the Blu-rays. They'll have behind the scenes the outtakes,
and they actually damaged that flying saucer. The model, when they lifted up the fire, obviously damages it. It damages the lights on the bottom. Those lights that you can usually see rotate around the bottom of the saucer section get damaged as it flies through this ball of fire here.
Yeah. Do you think they planned for that, or was it an accident?
Accident, definitely an accident.
How
But
did they lift off without thrusters?
Isn't that what they used, or did they say, or no?
What did they
Don
use?
Fitmer actually fixed it. There's 6 thrusters on the Jupiter, I thought, and then they said one of them went out.
That would be great
Yeah,
if that's what they
thruster
said
number
in
5.
the script. But
Well, wait a minute.
no,
No,
but
that
they
wasn't
don't
a
say that in
thruster.
the script, though.
That wasn't a thruster that Dr. Smith gave to Narum. It was a thruster control.
Right, the thruster control.
Right.
Okay, so
the thrusters
they
are still
have
on
the
ship.
thrusters.
Well,
Right.
They just don't have the
Right.
ability to control it.
Right. And that's why Don had to bypass the missing one in order to get the thrusters to work.
yeah, Don sort of rewired everything at the last minute and saved the day, right? So,
Right. Which means I guess they didn't need it in the first place. But I didn't say that.
But it fits perfectly in Niram's ship.
Yes,
So-
everything is very pure. Everything is, of course. Well, they've given parts away before. If you guys remember an early episode, they even gave part of the robot away to the cowboy. So it's not the first time, which is odd considering it's an alien vessel, obviously. But I guess we're not supposed to
Yeah, exactly.
think about that.
It's all they all make their ships the same way. Plug and play.
it's very convenient. Oh, this is funny. Unstrap and get right up there. That's a good scene.
Even though they told them not to.
Of course,
unstrap
I know it.
the word.
And of course, the first thing you're going to do is bug against the central astrogator. At least we're getting some excitement here. Special
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah, this is a good ending to the episode for sure.
And DVB's giving us some popcorn.
I
Well,
bet you
Not
DVB.
what- And
Yeah,
not
I'll
watching
say-
this episode, you completely miss the sweet family moment that they have and stuff. So that was good too.
Oh, that's true. Yes.
Oh,
And
crap. I messed up.
the ship sprung a leak. Fortunately, Don has a patch there that he immediately sticks up there, which I'm guessing is a magnetic patch. It's okay, Joe. You didn't go back very far.
It looked like a lid, like the lid to a pan or pot.
Possibly. With a handle? Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, see our thruster control to Mr. Narum. So here's where he goes, what? So here's where Don has to hurry up and get down there and start bypassing. This is why they're having trouble getting off the surface, apparently. Yeah, this is the point where you think they would really do something to Dr. Smith.
So some of the thruster work must be automatically done for them to have been able to take off.
That's what I'm guessing,
And-
yeah. Of course, out of the goodness of your hearts, you nearly signed all of our death warrants. And of course, the girls aren't concerned with any of that right now. A Nova flare? I don't believe I heard of that. I've heard of a Nova and I've heard of a flare, but I don't know about a Nova flare. But it looks nice. And of course, Maureen says it looks like a rainbow after a storm. So I
It's
guess
just nice.
it's going to be maybe a sign of hope.
It's nice to see them back in space after the whole season, basically on one planet. So that's fun.
Well,
Yeah, and
it's
you
just-
notice. Go ahead, Joe.
About a nova is the after effects we get from a dead star and all the matter that's around it and stuff.
That's a Nova or a Nova flare,
But I don't know about the flare part. That's the part I can't help with.
right? That's
I guess
part
maybe it's just here's the light.
right.
Do you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
hear you.
Okay,
Yeah, we
my
do.
thing wasn't fully plugged in. I was thinking when they said it was a nova flare, it's like you get the flare like a sun flare, but only as a supernova's happening, you get it's the after effects with the flare coming out like a sun flare.
Well, that's possible.
That's as good an idea as any because it definitely has
Yeah.
something to do with the light.
Yeah, I'm
Light.
willing to buy it.
Yeah, it makes sense and good enough sense.
All right.
How are we doing in the chat?
Yeah, supernovas are caused by dying stars, right? That's right. You need stars that are bigger than our sun.
Yeah.
Our sun will just twitter out and die and turn into like a solid ball, a dead ball.
It'll
supernova-
probably become a massive giant. Like it's not going to nova, but it's going to get really big and consume the inner planets, and then get small.
Now, like Betelgeuse, it's going supernova right now, and what it is the star will explode and turn into a black hole.
Give me my jacket, kids. Sorry, pooches.
That's the best way I can explain it. Basically, it's these very large stars that explode and turn into black holes, or
Sounds
turn
good to
into
me.
mega, or not magno stars. Well, what's those? What's pretty much the cores that are really dense. Neutron stars.
Pulsar?
A pulsar. It'll turn into a pulsar or a neutron star.
Got it. Thank you. So they were able to make it off the surface of the planet, barely. And no thanks to Dr. Smith. So even without the thruster control, Don was able to bypass that. So they were able to gain control of the Jupiter 2 once again. And you notice that, yes, they are back in space, but notice that they're not wearing the burrito outfits or the silver outfits that they wore during the season 1. So, and I was trying to think, I'm pretty sure from my memory, we do end up seeing those silver suits again at some point. I know we do, but apparently it's not yet, but we will see them again.
Okay, so we get to see the burrito suits again.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, never mind. That's Jill's thing. I was going to say, what the heck was that I'd seen in the picture? It turned out to just be from Jill.
Actually, the silver suits, I think, make an appearance in an episode or 2 in season 3. Actually, guys,
They definitely do. Yeah, because I can think of some episodes specifically where I know they show up, but I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, there's at least one in season 3 that has the suits.
And here we are with our cliffhanger for our next week. Same time, same channel. I wonder if Batman stole that from this show, considering this show was out first.
Could be, actually.
Now, you guys see where it looks like the ship is about ready to collide with whatever that ball of fire is. You guys see that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try to, okay. And I'm going to describe it because I was actually looking prior to the stream for the clip. Because on the Blu-ray, it has all the behind the scenes. It's similar to where if you buy the Blu-ray of Star Trek TOS, there's a lot of extras, including some of the space scenes with the Enterprise and stuff. But what they do here is they cut it right before the model hits the ball. But if you watch the whole scene uncut, which is on the extras, it actually bounces into it, which it kind of looks kind of funny. But that's the reason why it cuts right before it hits the ball.
So, Bob, I'm guessing the stuff I sent you a couple weeks ago with all these next week trailers, they had actually cut that part out of it.
Yeah, because all that was exactly what you see here. It's just clips of these. It's what you sent me was not behind the scenes, like bloopers or outtakes.
Oh no, it was just these continuing next week scenes. But I thought it was better than nothing, right? That's why I sent them to you.
No, it shows the previews. All right, I want to clarify. It does show the preview for next week, but it doesn't show any behind the scenes.
No,
or outtakes.
Oh no. There was no behind the scenes or anything. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. What I'm talking about is on the extras on the Blu-ray set.
Okay. Got it.
Because I hadn't seen all these years, I had not seen it until I finally got my hands on the Blu-ray set.
And that's when I saw all the outtakes. It was the same with Star Trek. It wasn't until
wow.
they came out with, I think, the DVD, because I don't have the Blu-ray set of TOS, but I think it was the Blu-rays. Jill, I don't know. You have the Blu-rays. I think that's. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. All of the behind the scenes of the Enterprise, all of them filming the Enterprise from the different angles, all the different models, was in the Roddenberry vault. That's right. It was a DVD called the Roddenberry Vault, and they released
Oh
that
yeah,
several years ago.
I want that.
Right, that's the one that has all the outtakes from Star Trek. I had to think for a second. It was before the Blu-rays came out, and it is worth getting the Roddenberry Vault. I mean, watching them filming the Enterprise was really very, very cool. Okay, and as a reminder, everybody, there's a poll in the chat. If you get a chance, please consider voting in the chat. If you like the stream, maybe hit the like button, and if you haven't done so, maybe sub to my channel. I'll be going around the panel here and covering everyone's opinion and or review. So now we get our ending title, which is now in color, of course. Interesting how the guest star gets last billing, but I guess that's so their name sticks out, which is fine. All right, so I usually go clockwise, so I'm gonna do that if that's okay. Gorilla, so what say you? What would you rate this episode? And would you like to tell us a little bit about your channel?
All right, this episode, let's see. 60s color, check. Cool costumes, check. There. The blast off from the planet, check. You got the planet exploding, check. Damn statue comes to life, what the F? F you. But everything was great about this episode, even that damn miner there was even kind of compelling, you know? Even though it didn't make they really didn't need it. This could have been an entirely establishing thing. A minus if they would take that statue come to life out, it would have been an A plus. But that statue coming to life, it's just like they just needed an excuse to fire the laser. Oh yeah, jetpack, check.
Yep, we got the jetpack. I guess they had to kind of remind us, but I guess they said we better throw it in there, otherwise the audience is going to wonder whatever happened to it. To me, that's the only reason why they included it.
Yeah, and we needed that miner in there to get the setup that they lost their thruster control thing, so I didn't go too heavily on that, but that whole thing with the statue coming to life, that was just a F you to me. I didn't need it.
Well, they had to have the monster of the week, I guess, so they had to throw something in, even though it wasn't the plot didn't revolve around it. It wasn't the central character, I guess.
It was an excuse to fire a laser.
Yeah, that too. Was the laser beam? I forgot. Was it white? Now that we're in color, I mean, because in the black and white season 1, obviously the laser shots were all in white. Did you guys remember what color the beam was in here? I guess I should remember that. But you'd think they'd probably make it blue or red or something. I don't know.
I never bothered looking, to be honest.
Well, we'll find out here. We'll see another one coming up soon. So, Gorilla, tell us about your channel.
All right, I do 2 watch parties a week. Wednesdays we watch Justified. We're on season 3. Then on Sundays we do our Sunday cinema for 6 weeks of Christmas. I think I'm gonna do that new Silent Night movie. It piqued my curiosity.
There seems to be a lot of Christmas movies coming out. Christmas scary movies this year. So yeah.
Well, that's because Violent Night was such a hit that they're trying to grab it's a money grab.
Violent Night. Yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but then on Fridays there we review the Waltons. Then on Saturday we are reviewing Trading Spaces.
Isn't that a show like on the Home Garden channel or something?
Oh no! We're talking about the one with what's that?
Eddie Murphy movie.
Eddie Murphy.
Oh no, that's Trading Places.
Trading Places.
Yeah, that's what I meant. What did I say?
Trading Spaces.
You did say Spaces.
Oh,
which is a show on Home Garden. I'm surprised I remember, but I know it's the name
on because my sister used to watch that Home and Garden, whatever, and it's where they would take two families and swap houses. So, and I'm not into that. So, please don't hold it against me.
No,
But yeah,
we're
no,
into movies.
Trading Places is a magnificent, hilarious, fantastic movie. In fact,
Yeah.
it's the only Eddie Murphy movie that I liked.
Yeah. Then also, I'm starting a new series, as you can see by my background here, that I'm doing discussions on the Keys to the Kingdom series. There and what each thing, like different aspects, are supposed to represent there. Then my next one will be on comparing the front door of the house to the Golden Gates with St.
Very
Peter.
cool. Yeah, I've been checking those out. I found them very interesting. What book are you on now?
Well, no, I'm not doing them by book. I'm doing them by aspects. Like the first one was just my introduction there, but my the official first one there was discussing what the house was and the metaphors behind it.
Okay.
And my next one will be the front door is like how you gotta get into the house and stuff.
Turn the knob. No, I'm just kidding. Reminds me of an adventure game. You come
Yeah,
across
right.
the front door. You come across the door. What do? You turn the knob.
Right, a
Just
point
kidding.
and click adventure game. No, that's
Yes.
what it reminds me of too. Also, escape rooms.
Yes. There it is.
I got banned
So-
from escape rooms. You can't lock me in a room, then tell me, then ban me from them when I make the high score. Because if you lock me in a room, I'm gonna find a way out. If I have to smash right through that drywall, I will get out of that.
Just make a hole, right? So here's where we do get this is what we were talking about. We get the shot with Professor Robinson shooting at the statue, and it looks like a belt, light purple. I'm guessing. Is that what it looks like to you guys? What do you think?
White with a purple outer, there's a purple line.
Okay.
That
we
makes
know
sense.
Oh,
this,
that's what I see too.
right?
Yeah.
And we know these are all the
Yeah.
original effects, so it's not like this is remastered like they did Star Trek.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it looks like. Yeah.
Oh, I was reading a story just last week. Sheila Matthews Allen, Irwin Allen's widow. She was actually going to back the money herself to have Lost in Space given the special edition treatment like they did Star Trek TOS. But somehow everything fell through, and she was going to fund the money herself. But with bureaucracy and red tape and everything, it fell through. So we'll never see it. And now she's since passed. So it's too bad. We were so close to getting a. But I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing. I like the special effects the way they are. I don't know if I want to see them redone because I think that's a lot of the charm with. I mean, yeah, they look okay on TOS, but I think a lot of the charm with Lost in Space was the original effects. So, oh well, that's my opinion. Maybe it's a loss, maybe not, but I'm satisfied with having the original effects. That's my opinion. Though.
The original effects are still good, so I don't mind.
Yeah, they were state of the art at the time, obviously.
Yeah. The thing is,
And
when they remastered Star Trek, I was actually not impressed by a lot of that stuff. Like the Enterprise looked, to me, my eyes, it looks better in the original effects from the '60s because they had the real 12-foot, Enterprise model, right? And it looks real.
Right, and I don't want to.
Real.
Right, and I don't want to see them do that to the Jupiter too. I don't want to see a CGI version of that. I like the model version.
Yeah, the CGI Enterprise to me looks cartoonish. It looks fake to me, to be honest.
Well, it's only 720p, so it's low res compared to what a lot of our TVs are now.
Yeah. No, I was not impressed by a lot of it. There was a few episodes where there were scenes that were, I think, a little bit better, but overall, I prefer the original effects.
Yep, I second that. PvP, tell us. Go ahead, Jill.
Well, I agree with the Enterprise, but there are other instances where the remaster added to the show, but didn't take away from the past.
Yes, there are some of the other effects from the show, right? That are not the ship.
There were some scenes. Well, like one of the ones that stands out for me is the Doomsday Machine at the end, because the original ending with that little AMT model kit that they used for the Constellation, the damaged ship, it looked really bad, to be honest. That last little scene, And of course, the remaster did improve that quite a bit. So
Right, like when they showed Khan's ship. So sometimes when they would show like the alien ships in the original, we just got like distant shots, but they went more into detail now with the remasters. So yeah, I agree with that. But PvP, what would you give this episode? And tell us about your channel if you'd like.
I ended up giving it an A minus, like Gorilla. I pretty much actually agree with everything Gorilla said. So I don't have a lot to add. I thought it was, I was almost going to put it down in the B plus range, but then I thought, you know what the heck? Let's go for A minus because it is the first episode of the new season, and it is finally in color. And seeing the Jupiter 2 finally launch off the planet after the whole first season was kind of really nice to see them back, actually lost in space. So that was fun. And Smith was his usual conniving self. And Strother Martin, of course, was fun to watch. So yeah, overall, it's a really good episode. I liked it a lot, but I don't have a whole lot to add. And as far as my channel goes, I haven't been doing too much lately, so not really much to update on there for the time being. So yeah, I guess I'll basically keep it brief and short tonight because I don't really have much more to say about the episode.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
And Jill, what say you? What would you say about this episode? What's your opinion?
So this was a very good, very entertaining disaster episode just to get them off the planet. It kind of makes sense that this planet would break apart because it seems pretty hollow. They have all these civilizations inside that call it home. And but of course they're not, they don't have spaceships, so goodbye to them.
Goodbye.
I'm so sorry. And even given that it's Peter Packer, it's pretty impressive that he could say that the molten core is leaking because that's something that could happen in for a real planet. Although it didn't stop him from combining biology with geology and making up silly words like the molten it's fermenting. The core is fermenting. That doesn't work.
Like a good wine.
Oh
Right.
boy.
And so the earthquakes were some good effects I enjoyed seeing, and for whatever reason, John's just really, really great at reading them. But the performances were really great and everyone looked wonderful. We discussed that the thruster control was the only one on the ship, so how they're able to get out, I don't know exactly how they bypass it. They don't exactly explain it, but
And they did it pretty
make it.
quick.
What
Yeah,
I
it takes a while
figure
to figure it out. Yeah.
what I figure is that even though they can't break escape velocity, the reason why they're okay is because the planet breaks up and there's no longer any atmosphere
Gravity.
no longer any
Yeah.
planet to escape from. But I would have.
Now, did they? I guess I could be wrong, but did they say that within the episode or no?
No. I
Okay.
use my imagination to fill that in. I would have
Well,
liked a
it
little
sure
dialogue.
makes sense. Sure
It
makes
does.
sense, right? Once the planet broke up, then there was less gravity.
For sure. Like, it would make sense if the Jupiter 2 had some spare parts in that regard for very vital systems like that. I don't know. I'm expecting too much as a Star Trek fan. I like a little tech dabble. I wanted a little bit, but I didn't get it. It's okay. So, but I did like the alien prospector just coming to be the antagonist. And production wise, though, I get why they don't just save him instead of giving him their parts or whatever, because who wants this guy to become a member of the main cast? So, I don't know.
Well, that's true. That then he's going to have to be gone by next week, and they're not going to be able to afford to play Strother Martin for 2 weeks, right? So yeah, you're right.
I didn't realize he was such a big deal too. Like, there's this another reason why you can't have him for 2 episodes. Can't even just drop him off because he's too expensive.
Now, have you seen him in anything besides this, Jill?
Well, you mentioned the only one with the movie Up in Smoke.
Oh, you've seen Up in Smoke?
I have.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, great. That's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It's cool to see leadership from Dr. Robinson. We don't get a whole bunch of that, and of course, as the planet is taking off, we get that more of that. And who knows what kind of time dilation they're having affecting them since they're going half the speed of light.
Oh, that's
But
true.
but I guess we'll find out if we ever get back to Earth at any point.
Right. But I think at this point they're back on their way to Alpha Centauri. I don't know if they're ever going to make it because, according to the pilot, they were supposed to be in stasis for 100 years. So, oh well.
But just a little moment of remembrance for the Cyclops, the seaweed monster, the underground dwelling beasts,
Right.
the Earth-like fish, and those remember those giant pea pods that turned into monsters? Those
That's
guys
right.
drawn
Right. Attack of the Killer Plants.
Yes, rest in peace, all the Lost in Space monsters from season 1.
Yes,
Jill,
there's that, and then my channel is the same as my name, Antiderivative Jill, and I like to talk about science fiction too. And so tomorrow I will be talking about Star Trek, the original series, 3rd season episode, The Tholian Web.
I
which
will
is pretty
definitely
cool.
be there.
Awesome.
Definitely.
I'm so glad. You'll be
Yeah,
there for a good one.
That's a good one.
It is. Right. The 3rd season does have its highlights. It's not totally.
Oh, we got
Totally
double
is
Star
bad.
Trek this week. Friday for my it's not exactly a Christmas movie, but it came out during the holiday season. I will be reviewing the motion picture.
Oh, you're doing that this Friday?
Yes.
Oh
Okay,
gosh.
so special edition director's cut.
Yes, the director's edition, the latest one that came out.
Okay.
Definitely. It's my favorite way to watch it now.
Oh,
Ever
I
since
hope you don't
seeing it.
mind if I'll tune in. I'll
Yeah,
be there.
if any way you can participate, I'd appreciate.
Yeah,
Oh,
sadly,
yeah.
I will be missing that because I'm working like close to 40 hours this week and next week because got to add extra hours in for the Christmas break, which is happening 3 weeks from now. Because since we're not calling that week, we have to add all the extra time on for this week and next week. So I'm working like close to 40 hours each week. So I will not be available for the next 2 Fridays, Jill. Very, very unfortunate, but
Oh, well, I understand.
just want to
I
let
don't
you
know.
know.
Yeah, and I won't be able to participate in the chat because with us having to slow down production, they got everybody out on the floor. So yeah, I'm not gonna be able to sneak a chat in here and there like I normally
Would that
can.
make sense when it's at the end of the year? They want you to get all the work done.
Oh no, we're out of coding.
Oh,
Oh,
you're out of coding? What does that
we're
mean?
pretty much out. We're waiting on it to come in, but we haven't even
When
got.
you say coding, you mean CODING, right?
Yeah, the stuff. It's our
Right.
Chrome
Gotcha.
coding we put on our
Oh
manifold.
no, COATING. All right, got it. Coding. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're waiting for that to come in. You know, that make our manifolds all nice and pretty.
Gotcha.
Okay.
No, and
That's all
that's
I have.
great because Star Trek was a Christmas movie back in '79. It was a Christmas release. I remember standing in line. So yeah, it came out in December of 1979.
Yeah, that's what I did this year. I did December release sci-fi movies. I did Bicentennial Man and Motion Picture this week.
Well, then I have
So-
to say it's my favorite. Not I can't say favorite Christmas movie because it's not really a Christmas movie, but I'd say
Not
my
really a
favorite
Christmas
Christmas release.
Yes.
Well, that up
Oh,
there with Superman the motion picture. I guess Superman the movie. They both came up Christmas time. Sorry, go ahead, Gorilla.
So Star Trek is now officially a Christmas movie like Die Hard is.
Well, it doesn't take place at Christmas time.
Yeah,
Or
unfortunately,
that
the
we know
only
of.
Star Trek movie that could be considered a Christmas movie is Star Trek Generations because it has a Christmas tree.
And I would remember. It's like that painful car accident. My mind is just working on trying to get rid of it. It's like
I remember, it was parts of it like were a blur, but that's about. No offense, I know there's a lot of fans that like that movie. But thank you, Jill. I appreciate that. Thank you for your review and letting us know about your channel. And try to be there, everybody, if you can tomorrow. Check it out when we cover the TOS and Friday for Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Those are two big events that I'm very excited and looking forward to.
Oh,
Yes,
Jill,
thank you.
did you give a rating for the episode, Jill?
Oh, did I forget a B plus?
B plus. Okay.
Thank you for remembering PvP, and I appreciate that, Jill. And once again, thank you for the wonderful slides.
Of course.
Okay, I guess it's my turn then. Now I'm up on stage, and I always get nervous, believe it or not.
Okay, I'm going to give the episode. I'm going to give it just a straight A. I enjoy it. It's good to see it in color. Where it's a blast off to season 2. I'm excited. We got the best supporting actor having Strother Martin on here. I think is an immense pleasure. I mean, I know for most people looking in from the outside are thinking, well, he's just another bad guy on this show. But he was not so much as a bad guy. I know I guess he would be considered an antagonist, but he wasn't out. If you guys remember, he was not out to hurt the Robinsons or do them any harm or trying to kidnap them in any way or anything like that. He was just doing his own business by drilling. And unfortunately, it was destroying the planet while it was at it. So he was, yes, he was an antagonist, but he was not working against the Robinsons. If anything, I guess that would have been Dr. Smith, who was basically playing both sides at this point, which is typical for Dr. Smith. It's nice to see the robot in color. That's always a pleasure. And the costumes, of course, pop out. I know the colors are odd. And Billy Movie said he didn't like his red costume, which I guess I can kind of sort of agree with that. But yes, I'm excited the fact that they're off the planet and that we're going to have further adventures in space. We've got 2 entire seasons left to go, which is amazing. And I'll have more behind the scenes trivia come next week when we cover the next episode, which I believe is entitled Wild Adventure. And I do have, thanks to PvP, I do have the trailer for next week that I'll be playing. But first, how are we doing on the chat, Gorilla?
We had quite a few there. We're waiting for you to get done. DVB here says yeah, you are you at that one. Goes, black holes are a weird concept. I wonder if they actually portal to some kind of parallel universe or something. Well, I think they discovered evidence of these things called white holes where I'm guessing that expels matter. So it could be the opposite end of a black hole. The black hole sucks it all in, and the white holes blow it all out.
They actually, I just saw that on the Orville. They actually discovered one. What? I hadn't heard this.
Anton Petrov was talking about it a while back.
Interesting.
You'd like his channel, Jill. He goes, black holes basically destroy all matter and light. They pull it. So wouldn't it make sense that maybe there are portals of some kind, maybe? Yeah, that's the whole concept of light. And thank you for that, DVB. Yeah, he's putting a channel in my...
Oh, very cool. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, okay. It has in 2022. Thank you. Thank you, Gorilla. That's cool.
You're looking at Anton's thing? And here's
know if it's
PvP's
Anton.
channel. It does Twitter, I'm guessing.
Thank you.
Anton Petrov, EETROV. He's got a channel. He talks about space and science. It's pretty cool. He's very knowledgeable.
Yeah. And welcome, Sean. You're catching us on the tail end.
Hello, Sean. Good to see you. Better late than never. Hope
Yeah.
you're doing well, sir.
Yeah. Nope. DVB says no plan to escape from kind of like Alderaan. Yep. Only they didn't go out screaming and crying like the wimps on Alderaan. Yeah, and that's everybody. They're all saying hi to Sean and stuff.
Yeah,
All
it's
caught
good
up.
to see Sean. Thank you. And I'm going to be closing the poll, everybody. Please vote if you haven't done so already. I'll be sharing the results with everyone. And I just remembered tomorrow night at my channel, if you're able to join us for the sci-fi horror stream, we're going to be covering 1986's The Fly remake with Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis. And then Wednesday, we definitely will be back for Gilligan's Island, I promise. I'm feeling much better this week, so I'm going to make sure that I don't miss any streams this time. And then we'll be back Saturday with another Rumblings from the Lab. And then the following Monday with the next episode of Lost in Space, Wild Adventure. So I'm going to go in now and close the poll in the chat. Or in the poll, I guess, as it says.
This
And then
other
I'll share that with
article
everybody
says
and we'll
that
cover
white
that.
holes are just fancy math. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if white holes exist. This is crazy. I want to look into them a little bit more.
Maybe it hasn't really been proven yet, or it's still a theory, or all of it's
It's a theory.
theoretical, obviously.
Yeah,
Theoretical
right. Exactly. That's probably what it is.
So-
But it's neat.
Thank you for voting, everyone. It looks like we got a total of 12 votes. What grade would you give Blast Off into Space? And it looks like 58% of you voted B plus to B minus, 41% A plus to A minus, and nobody voted below that. Fantastic. So at one point or another, everybody did enjoy it. I'm glad to hear that. I hope you had a good time tonight. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I know I certainly did. It was good to be back after missing last week. And I'm excited. I can't wait for next week. Is there anything any of you would like to add before we show the trailer for next week's episode?
Nope.
I don't think so.
Okay. So remember, everybody, if you can, try to be bigger next week. Oh, and I hope I did this trailer right. This is the first time it's a different format. I had to use a different program to capture it. I hope I don't mess it up.
Oh, by the way, it looks like Jill's away, so maybe you want to wait a minute before showing that.
Well, DVP says that's a pretty high
You got any
rating.
chats, Gorilla?
I'm reading them
Yeah,
now.
it is. It is.
Yeah, he said, cool. That's all our chats.
It makes me want to go and watch all the movies with Strother Martin in them.
Actually, Gorilla, could you post that channels you just mentioned a minute ago? Could you post that in the chat? Because I should probably check that out.
Yeah, he only does like anywhere from 10 to 15-minute videos. Occasionally, some are longer, but it's really interesting to listen to.
Oh yeah, well, if you can post that link, I'll definitely take a look.
Put it in the public chat. That way, if there's anybody in the chat that maybe wants to check it out, they can. Okay. So there's that link, everybody. Make sure you check that out when you get a chance. And I recommend it too. I've seen Anton Petrov's channel, and I also tuned in for it. He, like I said, he's pretty knowledgeable, and he's on the cutting edge with a lot of what's going on with science and space. He has some good streams also about the James Webb Telescope. So he kind of keeps us up to date with what's going on with that.
I am subscribed to him already.
That makes sense. I was surprised when you said you hadn't heard of him.
I just hadn't checked in with him for a while, I suppose.
Well, that happens. Okay, so with that, thank you, everyone. Especially thank you, everybody on the panel. Gorilla, thank you for helping me with the chat. And Jill, thank you for the slides. And it was good to have you back, PvP.
Oh,
and
it's good to be here.
Yeah, it was. It was fun. And everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much. I really owe it to you. Without chat, obviously, we would be nothing. And please stay tuned for the trailer for Lost in Space, and I'll be closing out the stream. And hopefully this works. Here we go.
That's exactly where we're going.
John, have we got a chance?
Well, beyond the sun's gravitational pull.